This is an audiobook created by Subconscious Key Studio. Welcome, please find a comfortable position and allow yourself to simply listen. For the next hour, let the world outside fade away. We are about to embark on a journey not to a distant land, but to the very heart of reality itself. This is a story that has been told for thousands of years, in 1,000 different ways, and yet it is a story we have forgotten. It is the story of who you truly are and the breathtaking reality of the universe you are a part of. It begins not with a bang, but in a deep and profound silence, the silence within you. So take a gentle breath and let us begin. Over 2 millennia ago, the philosopher Plato, in his work, The Republic, painted a picture of the human condition so powerful it has echoed through the ages. He asked us to imagine a deep, subterranean cave. In this cave, prisoners are chained from childhood. Their legs and necks are fixed so they can only look straight forward at a blank wall. Behind them, a great fire burns, and between the fire and the prisoners, there is a raised walkway where people carry all sorts of objects, statues of men and animals, figures of wood and stone. The prisoners cannot see these objects or the people carrying them. All they can see are the shadows that these objects cast upon the wall in front of them. And because this is all they have ever known, they believe these shadows are the entirety of reality. They give names to the shadows. They award honors and prestige to the one who is most clever at predicting which shadow will pass next. The echoes of the voices from behind them seem, to their ears, to be coming from the shadows themselves. Their entire world is a play of flickering phantoms. Now, let us gently open our eyes and look at our own world. Can you see it? Can you feel the shape of our modern cave? The walls are no longer made of stone, but of screens, the cool, glowing glass of phones, tablets, and televisions. The fire is the relentless, flickering light of the digital realm. The 24-hour news cycle, the curated social media feeds, the endless stream of advertisements and entertainment. The chains are subtler, but far stronger. They are the algorithms that feed us what we already believe, the constant distraction that prevents us from looking inward, the deep-seated fear of being alone with our own thoughts, the societal pressures that mold us into comfortable, predictable shapes. And the shadows, oh, the shadows are masterful. They are the headlines designed to provoke anger or fear. They are the carefully crafted online personas that are mere highlights of a full life. They are the political and cultural narratives that pit us against each other. They are the constant message that you are not enough, not beautiful enough, not successful enough, not happy enough, and that salvation lies in the next purchase, the next vacation, the next like. We, the modern prisoners, are so engrossed in this dazzling dance of shadows. We award our attention, our time, our very lives to those who cast the most compelling ones. We have become connoisseurs of the illusion. Now, Plato asks us to imagine the unthinkable. What if one prisoner were freed? What if his chains were broken and he was forced to stand up, to turn around, and to walk toward the fire? Think of the immense discomfort. His muscles, atrophied from a lifetime of stillness, would ache. The light from the fire would be agonizing to his eyes, accustomed only to dim shadows. The figures carrying the objects would be blurry, confusing. He would think them less real than the clear, familiar shadows he had studied his whole life. He would, in all likelihood, demand to be returned to his chains. The illusion was comfortable. The truth, at first, is sheer pain. But imagine he is dragged further against his will, up a steep, rugged, and rocky path, out of the cave and into the wide-open world. The light here would be utterly overwhelming, a violent assault on his senses. He would be blind with agony. He would rage against his liberator. But slowly, painfully, his eyes would begin to adjust. He would first see the easiest things to look at, the reflections of the moon and stars in a still pond. Then the objects themselves, the soft grass beneath his feet, the majestic silhouette of a tree against the twilight sky. Then, as dawn approaches, he would behold the world in all its color and texture. And finally, after much time, he would be able to lift his gaze to the source of it all, the sun. Not the sun as a distant disk in the sky, but the sun as the great giver of life, the source of all light, the force that makes the plants grow, that warms the soil, that governs the seasons. In that moment of pure, unmediated perception, a revolution would occur in his mind. He would understand the pathetic poverty of his former existence. The shadows were nothing. The honors he received in the cave were meaningless. This vibrant, living, brilliant reality, this was what was true all along. His entire life had been a dream within a cave, and he has finally awakened. The Stoics and Platonists spoke of the Anima Mundi, the world's soul. They perceived the cosmos not as a dead machine, but as a living, breathing entity imbued with a divine intelligence. For them, every stone, every stream, every creature was sacred because it pulsed with the life of this world's soul. The poet and mystic William Blake would later capture this feeling when he wrote, "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower / hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." This is the perception of the freed prisoner. In the East, this ultimate reality was called the Tao. It is the unnameable, undefinable, flowing way of nature. It is the principle behind the harmonious interplay of all opposites, the yin and the yang, light and dark, action and stillness. The Tao Te Ching begins. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. It cannot be captured in words, only pointed to through experience. It is the rhythm of the waves, the cycle of the seasons, the silent growth of a bamboo forest. To be in alignment with the Tao is to move with the current of the universe, effortlessly and gracefully. In the ancient Vedic texts of India, this is named Brahman. Brahman is the eternal, unchanging, infinite reality that is the source and substance of all that exists. And here comes the most radical and beautiful claim of this tradition. Your own innermost self, your soul, your Atman, is not separate from Brahman. The core of your being is the core of all being. Tat Tvamasi, thou art that. The Upanishads offer a beautiful metaphor. Imagine a jar filled with air. The air inside the jar is not different from the air outside the jar. The jar is your individual body and mind. When the jar is broken, when the illusion of separation shatters, what remains? Only the one continuous, unbounded air. You are that. And then there is the Buddha. Sitting in unwavering meditation, he pierced the veil of reality and saw what he called pratityasamutpada, dependent origination. This is the profound understanding that nothing in this universe exists independently. Everything arises and passes away based on a vast, endless, and intricate web of causes and conditions. Let us contemplate this sheet of paper. The Buddha would say, to truly see the paper, you must see the non-paper elements. You must see the cloud, because without the cloud there would be no rain. Without the rain, the tree could not grow. You must see the logger who cut the tree and the logger's parents who gave him life. You must see the wheat that became the bread that gave the logger the strength to work. You must see the sun that nourished the wheat. You must see the generations of human knowledge that discovered how to pulverize wood and press it into sheets. If you look deeply enough, you will see that the entire cosmos has come together to manifest as this single piece of paper. A star that died billions of years ago contributed its minerals to the soil that fed the tree. The paper contains the entire universe. It has no separate, independent self, and neither do you. You are a temporary gathering of elements, earth, water, air, fire, and consciousness, all on loan from the cosmos. You are a verb, not a noun, a process, not a static thing, a flowing river of causes and conditions, momentarily given the name you. For centuries, the voice of science seemed to tell a different story. It described a cold, deterministic, clockwork universe of separate objects colliding in empty space. A universe where we were accidental, conscious orphans. But in the early 20th century, this comfortable, materialistic view was shattered by the discoveries of quantum physics, which revealed a reality far stranger and far more aligned with the mystics than anyone could have imagined. Let us enter the quantum realm. Here, we find the phenomenon of quantum entanglement. Imagine you create two particles, twins, in such a way that their fates are linked. You then carefully separate them, sending one to a laboratory in Paris and the other to a laboratory in Tokyo. Now, you measure a property of the particle in Paris, say its spin. The instant you do this, the particle in Tokyo across the world takes on a corresponding spin. This change is instantaneous. It does not travel at the speed of light. It is immediate, as if the space between them does not exist. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. It deeply troubled him because it suggested that the universe was, at its foundation, non-local, that separateness is an illusion. These two particles are not two things communicating faster than light. They remain, in some fundamental way, one single thing. They are connected by an unseen thread that transcends our everyday understanding of space and time. The physicist Sir Arthur Eddington hinted at this when he said, "The stuff of the world is mind stuff." And then there is the even more mind-bending observer effect. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists fire tiny particles, like electrons, at a barrier with two slits. When no one is looking, when there is no measuring device, the electron behaves like a wave. It passes through both slits at once and creates an interference pattern on the screen behind, a pattern that only waves can make. It exists as a cloud of potential, a smear of probability. But the moment a conscious observer places a detector to see which slit the electron goes through, the electron changes its behavior. It abruptly decides to act like a single, solid particle, going through one slit or the other. The very act of observation, the intention to see, collapses the wave of possibility into a concrete fact. This is not a minor detail. It suggests that consciousness is not a passive ghost in the machine. It is a fundamental force that interacts with the raw potential of the universe to bring about a specific reality. The physicist John Archibald Wheeler, who coined the term black hole, formulated the concept of a participatory universe. He proposed that the universe only comes into being through the act of observation by conscious beings. We are not just living in the universe is living through us. We are the universe's way of looking at itself, of becoming aware of its own grandeur. The mystic looks within and finds the cosmos. The physicist looks at the cosmos and finds a reflection of the mind. Now let's bring this cosmic connection down to earth, into the very flesh and blood of our bodies. For it is here, in our own physiology, that we find the most immediate and practical evidence of our interconnected nature. For a long time, we believed the brain was the undisputed master of the body. But revolutionary research in the field of neurocardiology has revealed that the heart is far more than a simple pump. It possesses its own intrinsic nervous system, a complex network of over 40,000 neurons, often called the heart-brain. This little brain in the heart is in constant, dynamic, two-way communication with the brain in our head. And here is the crucial discovery. The quality of this heart-brain dialogue is governed by our emotional state. When we feel stressful emotions, anger, anxiety, frustration, our heart rhythm becomes chaotic, jagged, and incoherent. It sends signals of chaos and crisis to the brain, which impairs our higher reasoning, clouds our thinking, and weakens our immune system. We literally become physiologically disordered. But when we cultivate uplifting emotions, sincere appreciation, deep compassion, genuine love, and profound gratitude, a miracle occurs. The heart's rhythm smooths out into a beautiful, sine wave-like pattern of coherence. In this state, the heart becomes a powerful, synchronized oscillator, sending clear, harmonious signals to the brain. This facilitates higher cognitive function, improves mental clarity, boosts creativity, and enhances emotional regulation. The feeling of love, it turns out, creates a biological symphony within us. It is the most healthy state we can be in. The ancient instruction to listen to your heart is not just a sentimental notion. It is a prescription for physiological optimization and a direct experience of the inner harmony that reflects the outer unity. And the bridges of connection do not end there. In the 1990s, Italian neuroscientists made a stunning discovery. They found a special class of brain cells they dubbed mirror neurons. These neurons fire not only when you perform an action, like reaching for a cup of coffee, but they fire in an identical pattern when you simply watch someone else reach for that cup. This is the biological foundation of empathy. When you see a friend stub their toe, the pain centers in your own brain light up. When you watch a movie and the protagonist experiences joy, your mirror neurons for joy activate and you feel an echo of that happiness. Your brain is, in a very literal sense, recreating the inner states of others within your own being. We are not isolated islands. We are wired to feel each other. The suffering of a stranger on the other side of the world is, neurologically, your suffering. The joy of a child you've never met is, in a small way, your joy. The boundary of the skin is a semi-permeable membrane for consciousness itself. To understand what it means to live this shift, to undergo the metamorphosis from a sense of separation to a lived experience of unity. Let me tell you the story of Dr. Aris Thorne. Aris was a prominent neuroscientist, a man who lived firmly in the world of the tangible. For him, reality was what could be measured, weighed, and graphed. Consciousness was an epiphenomenon, a fascinating but ultimately illusory byproduct of the brain's complex computation. He saw human beings as beautiful, biological robots, and the universe as a magnificent but mindless accident. He was the ultimate prisoner of the cave, and he was proud of his chains. He had cataloged every shadow on the wall with meticulous precision. When colleagues spoke of quantum mysteries or spiritual experiences, he would smile indulgently, dismissing it as poetic nonsense or wishful thinking. He was secure in his fortress of materialism, but the walls of his fortress began to crack from the inside. In his own laboratory, he was studying the brains of long-term meditators. The data was undeniable. These individuals could, at will, shift their brain waves into states of profound synchronization and coherence that defied all his models of a passive, reactive brain. It appeared the mind could command the matter of the brain. Then, he delved into the literature on the placebo effect, where a patient's sincere belief in a saline solution could trigger the release of potent, endogenous opioids and produce dramatic healing of ulcers, pain, and even Parkinson's symptoms. How could a mere thought, an intangible, non-physical belief, so directly and powerfully alter physical reality? The data was a crack of light under the door of his dark room. The crisis came to a head not in the lab, but on a quiet walk home one evening. The data on entanglement, coherence, and the observer effect swirled in his head like a storm. He sat on a park bench, exhausted, and looked up at the emerging stars. He was trying to think his way to a conclusion to force the pieces into his old, mechanistic model. His head throbbed with the effort. And then it happened. The shift was not intellectual, it was perceptual. A sudden and total reorganization of his senses. He was looking at the star Sirius, and the thought arose. The light hitting my retina tonight left that star when the Roman Empire ruled the world. The photons interacting with my cells are ancient messengers. But the thought was not a thought anymore. It became a feeling. A vast, silent, overwhelming feeling. the boundary of his skin dissolved. The eye that was Eris thorn, located behind his eyes, simply vanished. He was not looking at the stars. He was the stars looking back at itself. The air in his lungs was the planet breathing. The silent, aware space within his mind was the same silent, aware space that filled the cosmos. There was no separation. Only one single, unified field of being, expressing itself temporarily as a man, a bench, a tree, a star. Tears streamed down his face, not of sadness, but of homecoming. It was the most real moment of his life. All his arguments, all his models, all his certainties fell away like dry leaves. He had not solved the mystery. He had become it. He had stepped out of the cave, and for the first time he was bathed in the light of the true sun. The universe was not a problem to be solved, but a presence to be experienced. And now let us move from story to direct experience. Let us, for a few moments, lay aside all concepts and simply feel into the truth of our being. Allow your eyes to close if they haven't already. Let your body be heavy, completely supported. And bring your gentle awareness to your breath, the natural, effortless flow of life in and out of your body. With this next inhalation, feel the air as more than just air. Feel it as the shared atmosphere of the entire biosphere. This very breath contains molecules that were once in the lungs of Leonardo da Vinci as he painted the Mona Lisa, that were exhaled by a whale in the deep ocean, that were part of a storm over the Sahara. You are breathing the world. You are in constant, intimate exchange with every living thing. Now, feel the water within you. Over 60% of your body is this flowing, living water. This water has cycled for eons. It has been part of glacial ice at the poles, has fallen as monsoon rain on tropical forests, has flowed in the veins of a Tyrannosaurus rex. The water in your cells is ancient and has traveled the cosmos in comets. You are a walking, talking vessel of primordial ocean. And now, feel the space that you are. Feel the vast, empty space inside your body between the atoms. This space is not a void. It is a field of pure potential, a humming energy, the same field that physicists call the quantum vacuum. And this inner space is continuous with the outer space that holds the galaxies. There is no boundary. You are not a body in a universe of space. You are space itself, aware and alive, patterned into the temporary, beautiful form of a human being. You are the universe feeling itself, loving itself, exploring itself. Gently, gently bring your awareness back to the room, to the sounds, to the feeling of your physical form. And now we arrive at the final and most challenging part of the journey, the responsibility. The prisoner who has seen the sun, Plato tells us, must return to the cave. He must go back to the darkness and share the good news. He will stumble. His eyes will be blind in the gloom. The other prisoners will laugh at him. They will think his journey has made him weak and foolish. They will ridicule his stories of a world beyond their comprehension. They may even become violent, for a message of unity is the greatest threat to a system built on separation. But he goes back because enlightenment is not for oneself alone. It is for the whole. With great seeing comes great responsibility. You have now tasted the sun. You have felt the connection in your very cells. Your responsibility is to carry this knowing, like a quiet, inner flame, back into your daily life, back into your own modern cave. Your mission is not to preach, but to practice. To practice seeing the one consciousness in the eyes of the grocery store cashier, in the difficult family member, in the person with opposing political views. Your task is to be a warrior of light, not with a sword, but with compassion. To understand that every act of kindness you offer to another is an act of kindness you offer to your own larger self. To know that by healing the separation within you, you are healing a fracture in the universe itself. And so, as our journey together concludes, carry this with you. You are not a lonely fragment. You are a unique and essential note in the great symphony of being. Your life matters infinitely. Walk through this world not as a stranger, but as the universe coming home. Thank you, and peace be with you.